Hey everybody, I'm Abby with Tiny Messy Kitchen, and I have not been posting too much on Tiny Messy Kitchen, but I'm about to make these ginger cookies. Here's the recipe right here. I'm about to make these ginger cookies for my Thanksgiving celebrations. I figured you guys could bake along with me, and I will show you exactly how I make these step by step. And these cookies are so easy and so delicious, and they're not like the traditional gingerbread cookie. They're not really hard and they don't snap like a ginger snap or a ginger cookie. So when you make the ginger cookies, they end up looking like this, and they are soft and chewy, but they still have all the flavors of a gingerbread cookie. So here is the recipe, like I said, and I will be making these from scratch, and I've only prepped some ingredients down here below, but that's the only thing you've seen. So here are all the ingredients. If you want to pause this and screenshot it, I'm trying to hold it steady, and I'll make these for you guys. Okay, so let's get started. So normally you cream the butter and sugar together, and we do that in this recipe, but I'm going to mix the flour mixture first and set that off to the side. So I put 4 cups of flour in the bowl, but that's all that's in here so far. And I'm going to add some salt and ginger and baking soda and cinnamon and cloves to this green bowl, and then we'll set that off to the side and we'll stir it. So that is what we'll do here. So the flour is 4 cups flour, and we'll add 1 teaspoon of salt. 2 teaspoons of baking soda, 2 teaspoons of cinnamon. If I can open it. There we go. 1 of the ginger. Now the ginger says 4 tablespoons of ginger in the recipe, and I don't think I used that much this time because this is like a lightly pressed ginger, already in powdered form. So I don't think that 4 tablespoons is really what I need. Ooh, I need a spoon actually. So. Spoon. So 4 tablespoons of this. Since this is really highly concentrated, I'm not going to use 4 tablespoons, but stick to the recipe otherwise. So, because I made this batch a couple weeks ago, and tablespoons seemed a bit much. It still had plenty of ginger flavor, I assure you. So I'm going to do. That's more than 2 teaspoons rather, so I think that's probably okay. We'll add a little bit more. But don't want it to be too sharp with ginger, so we'll stick with that for now. And the last thing we need to add is the cloves, and then we'll stir that and set it off to the side. Okay, for the cloves. There we go. All right. And those are all of our dry ingredients. And 4 cups of flour is a lot of flour. This will make many dozens of cookies. I think typically it'll make about 60 cookies. So if you're going to a holiday party or you're making cookies for your office or something like that, this is a great recipe because 1 makes a ton, and you can freeze them and save them for Christmas time or for whenever you need them. You can take them out and then thaw them for, half hour, an hour, and then you're good to go and you have cookies anytime you want. So set that off to the side, and then we have 3 sticks of butter. Like I said, this makes a lot of cookies, so that is a lot of butter, but that's why. And then you mix 1 cup of brown sugar and 1 cup of white sugar. So we'll use this. Okay. Get my sugar out of the way. Okay. And then we beat this for a couple minutes until it becomes creamy. So it'll take a minute or two, and I apologize if this is really loud, so bear with me. Okay, now most people would stop here. I'm actually going to keep beating for another minute, but I wanted to show you this. Most people think, well, you know, this is well incorporated enough, but really you want to keep beating it until it's really silky smooth. Right now I can still see the sugar granules in there, and so that's not really what they mean when they say cream together your butter and sugar. So I wanted to show you this before I keep going for another minute or so. And also, if you're wondering why I'm using a hand mixer, I'm probably the only food blogger who uses a hand mixer over a stand mixer. For me, I just don't like the fact that the stand mixer would get in the way while you're trying to dump in ingredients. So the hand mixer, for me, is a lot better, but I know that's not what most people do. So anyway, I'm going to cream this for about another minute or so until it gets really silky smooth. Okay, I don't know how much you can tell on camera, but for me, I can tell that this has become one more solid color, and it's a lighter color because as you cream the butter, then the butter becomes lighter in color. So that's exactly what you want when you're creaming butter and sugar. And that goes for basically any recipe, unless they tell you not to overbeat it. But in almost any recipe where you're creaming together butter and sugar, make sure you do that longer than you assume you need to go. So to this, we are going to add eggs, molasses, and maple syrup. So let me get all that. Okay, actually I'll do my eggs now and get those out of the way. And and I didn't mention this earlier, my 3 sticks of butter and my eggs are both at room temperature. I let them sit out for multiple hours before I did this because you want it to be smooth, and creaming butter and sugar is very hard with cold butter, so don't do it. And most of the time recipes will tell you to crack 1 egg, beat it, and then crack another egg, but my recipe does not say to do that, so that's not what I'm doing. I'll be washing my hands, so I'll be right back. Okay, now we're adding molasses and some maple syrup, and that's a 1/4 cup of each. So I'm going to start with the maple syrup, and hopefully the molasses won't stick in that bottle for so long. The nice thing about molasses is that one bottle will last you literally years, so you can buy it and then just keep it on hand in case you ever want to make these cookies. And that's the only quote-unquote weird ingredient in this recipe that most people don't normally have, unless you're me, and then you have it. Okay, so that was 1/4 cup of maple syrup, and then we'll add 1/4 cup of molasses. Ooh, do I have a 1/4 cup? Let's see. I'll be pretty dang close. Maybe that's the end of my bottle. Let's see. Just let it drizzle in there. Okay, that's probably as close as we're going to get. That's okay. Okay, and then actually we've already seen all the ingredients we're going to use, so I'm going to mix this together and then we'll put in our dry ingredients. Okay, so this is what it looks like, and you'll add your dry ingredients. And if you're just tuning in, we are making these ginger cookies that ultimately look like that, and they are delicious. Okay, and at this point, if you were making these with me, then you would be preheating the oven right now to 350, just like almost every other basic cookie recipe. And you can use foil or parchment paper, and you do not need to grease these. You do not need to grease the pan because these cookies have so much butter in them that you do not need to worry about it sticking. So. Let's see. Okay, we'll just dump in the rest and make sure. All right, put that aside. right, one last addition and then we'll be all together. Alright, it's a pretty thick dough, which you probably can tell, so I'm going to fold in the rest of this flour here for my poor hand mixer. Give it a little break. Okay, and typically I will chill this dough, but I'm not going to do that right now just to show you the finishing touches before it goes into the oven. But if you chill it, typically it keeps its shape better, so that's why most people, if you want a cookie that doesn't spread or something, then that's why you would chill it. And I just think it turns out better and they don't spread as much, which I like. So if I will chill this, then I'll chill it for maybe an hour or two, and then that'll be good for a minimum of 30 minutes, and then you'll be good. So, okay, this is what the dough looks like, all finished. And then we need this because we're going to roll it in some sugar. And put that there. So, let's see. Okay, I'm going to get pretty messy here. Normally I use a cookie scoop, but I don't have it with me right now. So about a teaspoon or, teaspoon and a half of dough. And then you'll roll it in sugar like this, just so that it has an even coating. And you can pretty much morph it into a little ball. And it's pretty pliable, but it's not sticking to my hands. And then put it like here. And we've actually had some debate on how to finish this. If you can do the fork prongs in there like a peanut butter cookie, and it'll look just like a peanut butter cookie, or you can smash it, which is what I normally do. And so it'll make it a thinner cookie, but it's still, it's not really crispy. It'll be crispy on the edges, but soft in the middle. So that's really what we're aiming for. So if we're doing more of these like this, drop it in there and roll it around. Form it into a ball, and then smush it. So if you keep doing that, you obviously have a ton of dough. Like I said, this cookie is great for making for parties or any group where you need a whole bunch of cookies, and they'll end up looking like this. So make sure you're actually seeing it. So the cookies end up looking like this, and like I said, they're so good. They taste exactly like the fall and winter season with the ginger and the cloves and cinnamon in there. So if you want something that's different than a gingerbread cookie and different than a ginger snap, this is definitely the cookie for you. So if you do try it, let me know either by commenting on here and send me a picture. That would be great. And then if you were to bake these cookies would go into a 350-degree oven for about 9 to 11 minutes. But honestly, if you want them a little bit crispier, then you can do it a little bit crispier. So you can leave them in a little bit longer. And I think the last time I tried cooking these last week, I ended up cooking them for about 12 or even 14 minutes. So so definitely take your time if you like them a little bit crispier. So, all right, hopefully you guys like this recipe. And if you want to see me do another kind of bake along with me or cook along with me video, definitely let me know. Oh, and I'll show you the recipe in case you missed it. Here is the recipe. And you can also already find this on tinymessykitchen.com. You may have remembered that I did this cookie recipe, I think 2 years ago on my blog. So you can see step-by-step photos there, as well as this full recipe. So, all right. Thanks, guys. Happy Thanksgiving.